What's up, traders? Matt from the Trade Brigade here doing a technical analysis on ticker symbol INTC for Intel Corp. On the left-hand side, we have the daily time frame, and on the right-hand side, the 30-minute intraday time frame. First things first, I need to let you know they gave us an earnings announcement after the bell today, so let's flip on the extended hour session and see what's going on with that number. So zooming in here, just quite a bit of volatility, to be quite honest with you. I mean, the first 30-minute bar would indicate that we had a high way up here close to 54.25 and a low way down here close to 49.25. So a $5 range on a stock that's, $50. It kind of, just a lot of volatility, to be quite frank with you. It does look like we'll be opening on some sort of slight gap down. Let's go ahead and map out some of these areas. So here, overnight low, overnight high, just in case there's a minor turnaround. Remember what happened with Microsoft. We don't want another one of those situations. There's today's low. Here's today's high. And then we'll mark off the anticipated open just to talk about the possibility of a gap. Let's turn that off, focus in on the daily time frame chart just so we can see this a little bit easier. So here's the anticipated open. Notice how it's right directly in line with the prior 2-day highs. If we open here, then I might suggest that, we actually support and fill the gap overhead and potentially just play ping pong back and forth in this area if there's not a larger breakdown of those 2-day lows. Even if there is, the target's only going to be the overnight low. I say only, it's still, I don't know, what would that be? 50 down to 49.25. So a dollar move there, given some sort of pattern to get involved, maybe you're looking at like a 50-cent move to the downside. I don't know, it may or may not be worth your time. But the other thing I would say about that before we just brush off the overnight low is that it's aligning also with some of this prior structure from in here. So there's actually a ton of support underneath us. There's this congestion happening here. I wouldn't be overly aggressive to the downside, quite frankly, noting what's going on from a structural perspective. Now, over time, if this does want to pan out as a massive bear flag, something like this, and then it produces a breakdown, in that instance, sure, you can get a little bit more bearish, but given the fact that we've only gotten 3 days of sort of activity sideways here, and the fact that we have earnings that are keeping us kind of flat, I wouldn't be overly aggressive to the downside. It's as simple as that. If it was going to be more bearish, I would imagine that as we were making that overnight low, which was way down here, as we breached the 2-day lows, it would have gotten a little bit more traction to the downside, but it just didn't happen. So a little bit more neutral here in Intel, to be quite honest with you, which is kind of paralleling with what we saw in Tesla earnings, right? Basically flat, opening up inside of today's range. So fairly interesting stuff. Those are the levels I'll be watching to the downside. If there's a move lower and the broad market's kind of holding, I would watch for reversals off the overnight low, to be quite honest with you, for moves back higher towards the gap fill around 50.77. If we open inside of today's range, not much to read into there. I would expect chop, two-sided activity. It's been that way for 3 days in a row now. I wouldn't expect anything less. The only time that this really opens up to the upside is up and over today's high to get us into the overnight high from the earnings volatility at 54.20. After that, certainly 56 kind of up here, these swing highs, 56.17 is on the table, but direction not abundantly clear here inside of Intel. I suppose from the daily, the last thing I'll leave you with is the fact that this is kind of a support trend line like that. If it were to break it, again, maybe that's where we make the move to the overnight low, and then these horizontal areas close to 48.50. But as of right now, I'm a little hesitant to talk about downside in something like Intel, given everything that we've just explored. So that's going to wrap up the video. If you enjoyed it or learned anything new today, let me know in the comments section or by giving the video a thumbs up. Don't forget our main channel is linked in the description. And all of that being said, I wish you a green trading week.